Here we are at Music in the Loft, which is one of the best places for chamber music in town. And Big Shoulders Magazine is taping a concert tonight by pianist Adam Neiman, who's from New York City, and he's performing a concert of Chopin and Ravel and a composition of his own. So we wanted to talk a little bit about his career and how he's developed his composing as well as his pianistic skills. Let's start by talking a little bit about how your career is going, where you went to school and how you got interested in doing the piano and so forth. Can you give me a brief bio?
Sure. Well, to make it brief, I grew up in a very musical family. My mother is a very fine pianist. My oldest brother is also a fine pianist, and he played violin as well. My father is an opera lover, so by osmosis I came to know music. And we had two Steinway pianos in the house, so it was natural for me to gravitate towards the piano, which is why I chose the piano. But actually at a very young age, about 5 and a half, I saw the movie Amadeus, and it profoundly impacted me because I was inspired by how Mozart was composing, how he was portrayed composing in the film, and that he seemed to be channeling something, that it seemed to be coming from another place, and it seemed to give him such joy, even in the context of such a chaotic life. So I remember thinking from a very young age, I want to be a composer like that. I don't know if I can be that good, but I still want to be a composer. So actually that was really why I got into music, and then I developed my piano skills, I had good teaching, and I entered competitions and all that. And it just became clear that the way for me to make a career is through the piano, but composition would always be a part of what I do. I went to school at Juilliard in New York when I was about 17, and I met my wife during my 4th year there, and then we moved around a bit, but actually we located in Philadelphia a few years ago, which is my home now. I love it. It's a great city. And as far as what I do with my career, I just travel around and play concerts.
Ah, good. So anyway, now tell us a little bit about the repertoire that you're doing. Tonight you're doing Chopin, Ravel, right?
And Franck, and yes. Well, in general, I play everything under the sun, from Bach to contemporary, pretty much. And the reason for that is because it's impossible for me to choose. There's just such great music in every genre. And I just enjoy it so much that I couldn't imagine limiting myself to a particular genre. So yeah, I have a diverse repertoire, more than 50 concertos at this point, and many recital programs, and almost all the standard chamber music. And I really like to play everything with every combination: solo, chamber, concerto, symphonic, whatever it is. Music is music, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh. And we were talking the other day yesterday where we were setting up the sound ensemble. We were talking a little bit about that you had fondness for the Haydn sonatas.
I do. I'm not playing one tonight, but I was saying that this is maybe not the nicest thing to say, but if I had to choose between sitting down and listening to Mozart's piano sonatas and Haydn's piano sonatas, I'd much rather listen to Haydn. I just feel that there's a freshness and a vitality and a wit with Haydn that I just don't see in so many other composers. He's a really underrated master, I think.
People forget that he's one generation earlier than Mozart.
He was.
And he belongs more to the formal school of Bach and people like that. Well, the actual Mozart's leaning toward the too.
Yeah, and yet you can hear a piece like The Creation, and the beginning of it is so weird and harmonically ambiguous that you could imagine it being composed in the 19th century. So the fact that he spanned such a large period impresses me.
Yeah, I really enjoy those. And also there's, 60 sonatas that Mozart wrote his 14.
Something along those lines. Yeah.
Also, now we might talk a little bit about, we were chatting also about that we were talking about the difference between, since you are a composer and you're also a pianist, there's a difference between the interpretive artist and the creative artist. Can you tell us a little bit about how you see that?
Well, I think that, to talk about it obviously, the creative artist creates something from nothing. But even that's not accurate, because, at least in my experience, whenever I've written something, a piece of music, or even a piece of literature, like an essay or something, I've always had the instinct that I'm tapping into something that's already there. It's there, and it exists on some plane of existence, and then you are the one pulling it out somehow. So I think actually the creative artist is a channeler of energy the same way that a recreative artist is, an interpretive artist. So if I'm playing the works of somebody who's long dead, of course there's a difficult job in deciphering the text, what they left behind, trying to connect with the emotional inspiration for the music. But if you can connect with that emotional inspiration, then you can get at the heart of what the piece is about. It's the same way as getting to know your own inner world and being able to somehow channel it into a piece of music that expresses something concrete that people can hang on to.
Do you ever do any little sort of historical research in the pieces of the period what the composer was going through?
I do a great deal of historical research. I read all the letters of composers when I can. I read, many historical books because I feel that to understand the times, the economics, the culture, the language, all of that makes a great difference in understanding how a composer expresses himself.
Like, for instance, tonight you're doing the Miroirs.
I've read a lot about Ravel in general, his life, and about that particular piece and what he was going for.